Hello, my name's Kate Pullen, and today I'm going to be talking to you about your brand, your target market, and how those two things impact each other and why they're essential for your business. Your brand and your target market are two things that should go together like love and marriage, horse and carriage, gin and tonic, you name it, two things that should fit together hand in hand. And we talk about target market a lot in Flourish, and it's one of the essential building blocks of a business. And it's something, though, that it's not a new thing. Finding your target market has been something that's been around for as long as people have been trading, have been selling and marketing products. If you think back to the Middle Ages, the blacksmith, when he set up his blacksmithery, his forge, he would have done this in an area where there were horses and where people needed horseshoes for their horses. The sheep shearers were going to find their target market, who were shepherds with sheep. So finding your target market is something that has always been done, and it's absolutely a cornerstone of a successful business. And it's part and parcel of having a successful brand. Your brand and your target market must be in harmony. If you sell your products in person, so if you sell your products in a shop or in craft fairs or farmers markets, craft markets at the moment, you already know a little bit about your target market, because that you'll be checking out the target market of that venue. If you sell, high range, handcrafted diamond jewellery, you're probably not going to be attending at a fair where you know the emphasis is on low-cost budget items, and the target market, the typical shopper there is going to be teenagers. So the target market has always been an important part of the sales cycle, and that remains true today, and it holds true for businesses of any size, whether or not you're a startup creative business or whether or not it's a big business. Your brand, your products, and your target market are at the heart of your business. And to ensure that you're best set for success, it's important that each of these three areas connect. And these three areas, the brand, your products, and your target market, they form what should be a perfect triangle, and that this is at the heart of what will make your brand successful. You need to have your brand clearly defined, so you need to know what your brand means, what your brand ethos is, what your brand means to your customers. You need to have your products clearly researched and developed, so that you know you have developed the right possible products for your brand. And you need to have your target market identified, so you know that your brand and your products are going to resonate completely with your target. These three things need to work in harmony, that they are the three building blocks of your brand. And if you miss one of these things, then it's not going to work. That you've got a hole there, it's not going to be successful. These three areas should fit together like pieces in a puzzle. And it's only when these three pieces are fitted together that the puzzle's actually completed. If you have your brand defined, your products developed which dovetail completely into your brand essence, but either you haven't defined your target market or you haven't got it absolutely spot on, your marketing efforts are actually going to fall flat. They're going to fall on infertile ground, and you're going to be wasting time trying to market your products scattergun style, hoping that you hit on someone who just happens to like your product somewhere, somehow. It's like being a hawker in the street, going to everyone, no, do you want to buy a watch? Do you want to buy a watch? Do you want to buy a watch? Hoping that they're going to find someone who might be interested. If we don't actually know who we're selling to, we're making our jobs really a lot harder than they need to. And of course, if we have our products researched and developed and that we know who our target market is and who's just going to love our products, but we have our brand definition wrong, then again the model is broken. You have to have products and the right target market, but you have to have the right brand as well. So for example, if my products were hand crochet lace hankies and my target market is genteel retired ladies who enjoy the finer things in life, then there's going to be a major disconnect if my brand ethos is one of super modern bleeding edge design and that my copy is written in down with the kids street talk. At the very best, my target market is going to be a tad confused, and at the very worst, she's going to go running away in horror. And then on the other side of the triangle, if we have our brand and target market like ebony and ivory living together in perfect harmony, and we haven't developed an appealing product range, again, we've got this major disconnect and the broken model. Perhaps your ethos is about working in harmony with the environment, and your target market are lovers of natural vegan products, and they care about animal welfare, but your purses are made from the pelts of baby seals, your products are probably not going to be well received. So again, you've got a broken triangle here. So the perfect triangle is something that all brands need to maintain, and it's difficult. For small businesses starting out, it's probably not surprising that we struggle with getting it all together and honing the perfect triangle of target market, brand and product. However, it's also difficult for big businesses, and there are an eye-wateringly large list of marketing that has gone wrong because one side of this triangle has failed. And often it's because the brand has forgotten who their target market was and has gone off in a completely different direction, breaking the triangle. Two examples. In 1985, Coca-Cola introduced a new type of cola. It was New Coke, and it was sweeter than their normal Coca-Cola, their normal brand. And it was designed to take market share away from Pepsi. However, they misread or they forgot their target market, and that they thought that the target market bought from Coca-Cola because of its traditional values. They stopped buying stopped buying Coke, and they didn't like the fact that Coca-Cola had gone away from its core product. So Coca-Cola reintroduced Classic Coke, as it's now known, and they went to build on it, not forgetting that their target market likes the traditional classic nature of the core brand. They still bring on new products and develop their product range consistently, but never losing sight of their existing target market and the values that are important to them. Another big brand fail was Gap, who in 2010 introduced a new logo, which was modern and was more trendy than their previous logo. And this logo was so badly received that it lasted for only 2 days. Gap quickly took the old logo off and put their old logo back in place, after they had a massive backlash from the public, from the people who loved the Gap brand, from their target market. And Gap is known for everyday basics, and when they tried to redo their image, and they thought they were appealing to a more hip crowd, but they didn't understand that their target market was people who were interested in the basics, and that they weren't interested in leading edge design. They forgot who their target market was, they upset their target market, and their target market backlashed on them. So getting the target right and getting it so it fits into the brand triangle is something that we all struggle with, that big brands, small brands, people starting out, it's a challenge. Okay, so that was some examples of where the marketing triangle breaks, and that was where they broke epic style with some big brands. And I've got some homework for you to do, and I'm going to give you 3 completely fictitious examples of marketing triangle failure. I've made these up. These are just from the top of my head, but they are all related to handmade businesses. So it's something hopefully that will interest you. I invite you now to pause the video and download the worksheet, or if you want, download the worksheet and work through afterwards. But there are three examples, and your task is to identify where this perfect triangle is broken. Example 1, the brand is Nature's Natural Knickknacks, and it's a premium brand with an emphasis on quality, natural products and exquisite packaging. You can imagine it's very upend. The paper is probably some very nice white craft paper that the products are packaged in. The product itself is a homemade snack. It's used all natural ingredients and it's positioned at a premium price. Target market, young stay-at-home mums who are on a budget. Example 2, brand, Yum Yum Yarns. This is got a traditional brand, a traditional feel. The graphics suggest spinning wheels and sheep. If you think it's probably got sort of like natural, the brand design is probably got lots of natural colours. The product is acrylic yarns, which are bought in bulk and then rewound into small skeins. And the target market, knitters who enjoy making accessories and small items. They knit for fun, and that making quick products that don't take very long to do, that's what floats their boat. Example 3, brand, Great British Delights. This is a brand that suggests items with a strong UK theme. You know the sort of thing, red telephone boxes, London buses, Union Jack flag. It's got UK written right the way through it. The products, tea towels with funny and amusing phrases. And the target market, people who have a soft spot for British heritage, lovers of Downton Abbey. Okay, so there's 3 examples, and that none of these examples, none of these brands are doing well. There's a breakdown in each of the brands, and your task is to identify what the breakdown is. Like I said, if you haven't downloaded the worksheet, do so, and we can talk about that later. Okay, so this is why the target market is so important to your brand. If you don't know your target market, or you have your target market incorrectly defined, you have a break in the brand triangle, which is what we've been talking about before. And this is going to make it very difficult to succeed. And I say it's going to make it difficult to succeed, but it's not impossible to succeed, because you will see examples of brands on Etsy and elsewhere who seem to do well, yet everything they do flies in the face of what we think is good marketing practice. And there'll be a number of reasons for that. Right place, right time, that does bear a factor. Perhaps with commodity items, items that people need to buy rather than want and love and buying because of that. Those are often price-driven purchase decisions. People simply search out the cheapest and buy it. And there's the brand hasn't really had anything to play in this. And I said about right place, right time. I mean, if you happen to hit a trend and you can ride the crest of that trend, then again, perhaps finding your target market isn't so important. But these are very, very much the exceptions. And for the rest of us, defining our target market will make selling our products easier. Not easy, but certainly easier than just putting them out there and hoping that we come across a nice shopper who will take sympathy and buy from us. So how do we define our target market? Well, I'm not going to go too much into this at all, because this is the subject of, this is Target Market Month in Flourish, and there were going to be several presentations and training sessions over the course of this month that are going to talk about how you actually hone in and identify your target market and how you reach out to them. But what I'm going to talk about is something which I believe you need to do before or when you define your target market, and that is defining your brand. If you followed my presentation in, was it April? In April, I think, about defining your brand, you'll see there that I spoke about the different elements that make a brand. And if you don't know what your brand is, what your brand stands for, you're not going to know who your brand is going to appeal to. So these two things really need to go in harmony as well. This presentation is all about harmony, isn't it? What your brand stands for and who your brand is going to appeal to, those two things need to go together. And it's not simply about what your brand graphics look like, it's your brand ethos and what your brand actually means, what your brand stands for, your brand values. A logo without having your brand defined is just a pretty picture. Your logo is a visual representation of your brand, so this should be in tune also with your target market. You need to be able to answer these three questions. What's important to your target? What influences their buying decisions, and how can you make your target market choose your brand over your competitors? And this will help you define your brand so that it meets your target market's expectations. Your target market will be entirely diverse, ethics, and large. And when you get these, they'll evolve into customers. I mentioned personality, and your brand is a personality, and people will get to know that personality through your brand voice, what your brand looks like, what your brand stands for. And as I know I keep banging on about this, but as I know I say over and over again, people buy from people they know, like, and trust. And the more they know your brand's personality, the more they become to like your personality. They know you, they like the brand personality, and they trust your brand. And it makes the buying decision so much easier for them. Right, I now want to talk about target market and Etsy, because this is quite an interesting subject. If you're an Etsy seller, you'll know that Etsy have put increasing weight on our brands over the recent year. The changes that they made to the store layout in April were very much about putting our brands in front of customers and increasing brand awareness. The big banners, if we choose to use them, store updates to actually put more information about us in front of the shoppers. The about page, where we can put in videos and photos, all designed to really strengthen our brand in front of the shopper and to raise brand awareness, so that they will see us, our brands, as being a destination, that they will come to Etsy to come to our brand rather than come to Etsy to go shopping, perhaps. But one of the challenges that we face as Etsy sellers is whether or not the Etsy target market is our own target market. And there's two sides to this rather tricky coin, and most of this is going to depend on your own unique circumstance and whether or not you use Etsy solely as a selling platform and you market your products outside of Etsy, or whether or not you focus 100% on Etsy and you're completely Etsy focused, and you don't drive business from outside. If you have a strong off Etsy marketing strategy, and a great proportion of your sales or page views come from your own marketing efforts outside of Etsy, it really doesn't matter if the Etsy demographic is your own demographic, because you're going out, finding your target market and bringing them into your store. You're going out and reaching them directly. So it doesn't really matter in this instance. It doesn't matter if you're selling on Etsy or your own store, because you're actually reaching out to these people and bringing them in. So if they don't already exist in the Etsy demographic, it's not important because you're reaching out to them. However, if your marketing efforts are 100% within Etsy, so if your marketing strategy is completely Etsy promoted listings, or perhaps you do renewals to increase your position within Etsy search or other things, and that you are not going out and attracting people into your store from outside, then yeah, it is going to matter if the target market, if your target market demographic doesn't exist in the Etsy shopper demographic, and yeah, that could be a problem. And you're going to have to set up a marketing campaign to actually find your target market off of Etsy if it doesn't already exist there. But saying that, it's hard to imagine what type of handmade product would not have a target market within the bigger Etsy target markets. I don't know. I've actually been researching the Etsy demographic because this is an interesting subject. Well, I think. And there's actually surprisingly little information available about the Etsy shopper profile. There's a lot of information about us, the Etsy sellers. Apparently that we have a median age of 39 and 86% of sellers are female. But I can't find any up-to-date information about shoppers. So that's a challenge. So if you are 100% dependent on Etsy for your business, and your business is slow in coming, then perhaps you're questioning whether or not the Etsy shopper is your target market. In that case, it's time to do some research. Look at similar products, products which have a similar price band, and where the brand profile and you think the brand values are similar to yours. Are those products selling? If you know that these products are selling, then you know the target market does exist within the Etsy demographic. It's just a case of finding them and marketing to them. But if it looks like the Etsy demographic doesn't contain your target market, it's time to step up your activity off of Etsy. I said earlier, perhaps build a marketing plan that will reach out to your target market directly, find them on social media and other places where they hang out and start networking. And it might also be time to think of another platform. Etsy is now a very large platform which covers the whole range of handmade and perhaps not so much handmade products. It covers everything and it's very general, but there are marketplaces out there that are more specific. And perhaps if your target market doesn't exist on Etsy, perhaps it's time to investigate other marketplaces that might have a target market which is closer aligned to your target market. Or the other option is to go it alone. You could consider setting up your own website, or using a service like Shopify or something to actually give you an online presence. So when you reach out to your target market, you'll be bringing them back to your own website rather than Etsy. And indeed, I'm with my husband about to launch an e-commerce website service, which I'll talk about later, but that could also be an option. So the rest of the month here on Flourish is dedicated to finding your target market, identifying who they are and how you're going to market to them. But if you haven't defined your brand yet, can I urge you to do so, because it will make finding your target market that much more straightforward. If you know what your brand is, what your brand looks like, it will make finding people who are going to love that brand, who are going to resonate with that brand, more straightforward. Check out the presentations from Brand Month, which I think were in April, and you'll find lots of information there from the Flourish experts about building a brand, and that will help with the target market. So, if you have any questions about this, then post them underneath, and I'll get back to you. You're always welcome to tag me, and I'll respond as soon as I can. In my presentation last month, I asked whether or not people found a written alternative useful, and the answer was yes. So I will be making a written alternative to this and posting that over the next day or so. And I mentioned about e-commerce websites, and I said that this was something that my husband and I are currently working on. And we're working on a new service, and it could be of interest if you're looking to build a presence off of Etsy. Our new service is a done-for-you service, and it's called Defy, DFY. And it's a WordPress website with WooCommerce, which will give you an e-commerce store, and it will contain everything that you need for a fully functional e-commerce website, which is completely catering to the handmade business seller, and it will include about page, store, blog, email sign up, digital downloads, if you offer digital downloads, cookie policy, if you it will cover everything that you require. And we're inviting people who are interested to sign up to receive more information about our early bird offer, which will provide this completely functioning e-commerce website for $200, but you will need to provide the hosting. Or we're actually considering a monthly alternative, which will be about $15 or $20 a month, which will include hosting and the website. The final price for the hosted service is going to depend on the number of people that are interested. So if you are interested, I'd really appreciate if you could sign up for more information now. The website is alldfy.com, and there's more information there. Right, thank you very much for bearing with me. I hope that this has been useful. Like I said, I'm happy to answer any questions, and I've posted the answers to the tasks that I gave earlier separately. So check those out if you want to see whether or not you were right. Thank you. Bye.